Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be taking a look at the 12 motorcycles will break before 40,000 miles. Number 12, BMW R18. The BMW R18 attracts plenty of attention with its massive boxer engine and premium styling, but many mechanics warn that ownership can become expensive long before the odometer reaches 40,000 miles. The concern isn't that every R18 will completely fail. It's that repair costs can climb quickly once problems begin appearing outside the warranty period. One area frequently mentioned is the motorcycle's complex electronics. Modern rider aids, sensors, electronic control modules, and various electronic systems add convenience, but they also introduce more potential failure points than simpler cruisers. Diagnosing and repairing these systems often requires specialized equipment, making even relatively small issues surprisingly expensive. The R18 also carries premium ownership costs in general. Routine servicing, replacement components, and unexpected repairs typically cost more than many competing motorcycles, meaning even ordinary maintenance can become expensive over time. The BMW R18 isn't necessarily a bad motorcycle, but mechanics often caution buyers that keeping one trouble-free beyond 40,000 miles can require a maintenance budget that's far larger than many riders anticipate. Number 11, Triumph Bonneville Bobber. The Triumph Bonneville Bobber is one of the most stylish motorcycles you can buy, but mechanics often warn that long-term ownership isn't always as carefree as its classic appearance suggests. Before reaching 40,000 miles, the motorcycle can begin developing issues that are more expensive to fix than many buyers expect, especially if routine maintenance has been delayed. One area that frequently draws attention is the electrical system. Owners have reported problems involving sensors, switches, and occasional warning lights that can be frustrating to diagnose. These faults are rarely catastrophic, but they often require dealership diagnostic equipment, increasing labor costs even when the repair itself is relatively minor. Mechanics also point out that several replacement parts carry premium pricing. Items such as electronic components, controls, and model-specific hardware are noticeably more expensive than similar parts on many Japanese motorcycles. Another concern is that the Bobber's compact layout can make certain repair jobs more time-consuming than expected. Tasks that appear straightforward sometimes require additional disassembly, resulting in higher labor charges than owners initially anticipate. The Triumph Bonneville Bobber is still an enjoyable motorcycle to own, but mechanics often advise buyers to budget for higher repair costs, because even relatively small problems can become expensive once the warranty is no longer there to cover them. Number 10, Indian Challenger. The Indian Challenger is an impressive touring motorcycle, but mechanics often caution buyers that ownership can become far more complicated than expected before reaching 40,000 miles. The biggest concern isn't usually catastrophic failure. It's the growing number of expensive electronic and comfort features that can become costly once problems start appearing. One of the most common complaints involves the motorcycle's electronic systems. Owners have reported issues with the large touchscreen infotainment unit, Bluetooth connectivity, navigation functions, ride modes, and various sensors. Mechanics also point to the Challenger's complexity. Features such as electronically controlled rider aids, keyless ignition, and multiple integrated control modules mean there are simply more components that can fail compared with a traditional touring motorcycle. Even relatively minor electrical faults can result in lengthy troubleshooting sessions and high labor bills. The Indian Challenger remains an excellent touring motorcycle, but mechanics often recommend buying one only if you're prepared for premium repair costs, because fixing modern technology is rarely as affordable as maintaining the motorcycle itself. Number 9, Suzuki Boulevard M109R. The Suzuki Boulevard M109R is famous for its massive styling and powerful performance, but mechanics often warn that it can become an expensive motorcycle to keep on the road as mileage climbs. While the bike itself is capable of lasting well beyond 40,000 miles, neglected maintenance and wear on key components can quickly turn ownership into a costly experience. One of the biggest concerns is the drivetrain. The M109R produces tremendous torque, which puts extra stress on components like the clutch and final drive over time. Mechanics frequently see high-mileage bikes requiring costly repairs simply because these parts have endured years of hard acceleration and heavy loads. Its size also works against it during repairs. Many routine service jobs take longer than they do on smaller cruisers because of the motorcycle's bulky design and tightly packaged components. Higher labor times mean owners often pay significantly more for repairs that would be relatively inexpensive on other motorcycles. Replacement parts can add to the frustration. Tires, brakes, and several model-specific components are not only larger than average, but also more expensive to replace. The Suzuki Boulevard M109R delivers an unforgettable riding experience. But mechanics often remind buyers that keeping such a large, high-torque cruiser in top condition can become far more expensive than many people anticipate before the 40,000-mile mark. Number 8. Indian Scout 60. The Indian Scout 60 has plenty of loyal owners, but mechanics often warn that it isn't always the bargain long-term cruiser many buyers expect. While the motorcycle can certainly exceed 40,000 miles, repairs outside the warranty period can become surprisingly expensive because of several recurring issues and the high cost of replacement parts. One concern mechanics frequently mention is the electrical system. Owners have reported problems with sensors, switches, and electronic components that can trigger warning lights or affect normal operation. Parts pricing is another issue. Unlike more common Japanese cruisers, many Scout 60 components are expensive, and certain model-specific parts aren't always immediately available. Mechanics also note that labor costs can add up quickly because some repair jobs require more disassembly than buyers realize. Once the motorcycle is out of warranty, those additional labor hours become the owner's responsibility, making routine repairs far more expensive than they first appear. The Indian Scout 60 remains an enjoyable cruiser, but mechanics often advise buyers to look beyond the purchase price because unexpected repairs before 40,000 miles can make ownership considerably more expensive than many people anticipate. Number 7. Royal Enfield Himalayan 450. The Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 has attracted plenty of attention for its adventure-ready design, but mechanics often recommend approaching early high-mileage ownership with caution. As a relatively new platform, some owners have already reported issues that suggest the motorcycle may require more attention than buyers expect before reaching 40,000 miles. One of the biggest concerns involves electronic glitches. Riders have reported occasional problems with sensors, warning lights, ride-by-wire behavior, and TFT display functions. While many of these issues can be resolved through software updates or warranty repairs, they still mean extra trips to the dealership and added inconvenience. Mechanics also point to quality control inconsistencies that have appeared on some early motorcycles. Small issues such as loose fasteners, minor oil leaks, or electrical connectors requiring attention aren't necessarily catastrophic, but they can become frustrating if several occur during ownership. The Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 has plenty of potential, but mechanics often suggest waiting until the platform has accumulated a longer reliability record, because early production motorcycles sometimes reveal problems that only become obvious after thousands of miles. Number 6. Harley-Davidson Street 500. The Harley-Davidson Street 500 was introduced as an affordable entry-level Harley, but mechanics often warn that it hasn't earned the same reputation for durability as many of the company's larger motorcycles. Before reaching 40,000 miles, owners can encounter enough recurring problems that repair costs begin adding up faster than expected. One of the most common complaints involves overall build quality. Mechanics frequently report premature wear on smaller components such as switches, cables, fasteners, and electrical connectors. None of these problems are usually catastrophic on their own, but several minor repairs over time can make ownership surprisingly expensive. Electrical faults are another recurring concern. Owners have reported issues involving sensors, warning lights, battery charging systems, and wiring connections. These problems can be difficult to diagnose, often requiring dealership equipment and increasing labor costs well beyond the price of the replacement part itself. The Harley-Davidson Street 500 isn't guaranteed to fail before 40,000 miles, but mechanics often caution buyers that its history of recurring minor problems can make long-term ownership far more frustrating and expensive than many riders originally expect. Number 5. Triumph Rocket 3. The Triumph Rocket 3 is an engineering masterpiece, but mechanics often warn that it can become one of the most expensive motorcycles to repair long before the odometer reaches 40,000 miles. The concern isn't that every Rocket 3 suffers major failures, it's that when something does go wrong, the repair bill is rarely small. One of the biggest challenges is the motorcycle's sheer complexity. Packed with advanced electronics, multiple rider aids, electronic throttle systems, and premium components, the Rocket 3 has far more potential failure points than a traditional cruiser. Diagnosing faults often requires specialized Triumph equipment and experienced technicians, which immediately increases labor costs. Mechanics also point out that access to many components isn't particularly simple. Because of the motorcycle's enormous size and tightly packaged design, repairs that would be straightforward on smaller bikes can require significantly more labor. Even replacing certain parts can involve hours of additional work. The Triumph Rocket 3 remains an incredible motorcycle to ride, but mechanics often remind buyers that premium performance comes with premium repair costs, and even moderate mechanical issues before 40,000 miles can become surprisingly expensive to fix. Number 4. Harley-Davidson Pan America. The Harley-Davidson Pan America brought Harley into the adventure motorcycle market with impressive technology and capability, but mechanics often warn that it can become an expensive motorcycle to own as mileage builds. The issue isn't usually one catastrophic failure. It's the number of sophisticated systems that can create costly repair bills before 40,000 miles. One of the most common concerns involves the electronics. Owners have reported occasional problems with sensors, rider assistance systems, warning lights, and software-related glitches. While many issues have been addressed through updates, diagnosing electronic faults still requires specialized equipment and can result in significant labor charges once the bike is out of warranty. Another drawback is the cost of replacement parts. Many Pan America-specific components are premium priced, and some repairs require extensive disassembly, increasing labor time and making even moderate repairs far more expensive than owners initially expect. The Harley-Davidson Pan America is a capable adventure motorcycle, but mechanics often recommend setting aside a healthy repair budget because sophisticated technology can become surprisingly costly long before the motorcycle reaches high mileage. Number 3. Indian Chief. The Indian Chief is a motorcycle that wins plenty of fans with its classic styling and strong road presence, but mechanics often warn that high-mileage ownership can become far more expensive than many buyers expect. The concern isn't that every Chief falls apart before 40,000 miles, it's that several wear items can begin demanding attention much sooner than owners anticipate. One complaint mechanics regularly see involves the clutch. Riders who spend a lot of time in stop-and-go traffic or frequently ride with passengers can experience premature clutch wear, turning what should be routine ownership into a repair that's far from cheap. Once replacement is needed, both parts and labor can add up quickly. Heat management is another issue that owners frequently mention. During slow city riding or hot summer weather, the large V-twin can produce considerable heat around the rider's legs. While this doesn't necessarily damage the motorcycle, mechanics note that prolonged heat can accelerate wear on surrounding rubber components and make regular servicing more important. The Indian Chief remains an enjoyable cruiser, but mechanics often remind buyers that its size and torque can make long-term ownership considerably more expensive if routine maintenance and wear items aren't addressed before they become bigger problems. Number 2. Triumph Tiger 900. The Triumph Tiger 900 is a capable adventure motorcycle, but mechanics often caution that it isn't immune to expensive ownership as mileage begins climbing. While many examples are reliable, there are several recurring issues that can appear before the 40,000-mile mark, especially on motorcycles that see frequent touring or off-road use. One area mechanics pay close attention to is the cooling system. Water pump leaks and coolant seepage have been reported by some owners, and while the repairs are usually manageable if caught early, ignoring them can lead to much larger and far more expensive problems later on. Another complaint involves the quickshifter. Some riders have experienced inconsistent operation, missed shifts, or sensor-related faults that require recalibration or replacement. These aren't problems that affect every Tiger 900, but they appear often enough that experienced mechanics know exactly where to look. The Triumph Tiger 900 remains an excellent adventure motorcycle, but mechanics often recommend paying close attention to cooling system maintenance and electronic components, because small issues can become costly repairs long before the motorcycle reaches truly high mileage. Number 1. Harley-Davidson Nightster. The Harley-Davidson Nightster may be one of the newest faces in Harley's lineup, but mechanics often advise buyers to approach long-term ownership with realistic expectations. As a relatively new platform, it hasn't built the same decades-long reliability record as Harley's traditional air-cooled cruisers, and some early owners have already encountered issues well before the 40,000-mile mark. One of the biggest concerns has been software and electronic reliability. Owners have reported occasional warning lights, ride mode glitches, and intermittent electronic faults that don't always point to a failed component. Mechanics often spend considerable time diagnosing these problems, which can make repair bills much higher than expected. Heat is another complaint that comes up regularly. The liquid-cooled Revolution Max engine produces noticeable heat during slow traffic and warm weather, making the motorcycle less comfortable to ride and placing additional stress on nearby components over thousands of miles. The Harley-Davidson Nightster is an enjoyable modern cruiser, but mechanics often recommend buying one with a clear understanding that newer technology and a shorter reliability history can translate into higher repair costs long before the odometer reaches 40,000 miles. And with this, we have reached the end of this video. Make sure to like it and subscribe the channel for future upcoming videos.